Chris is on the queue. It's time to start.
You're good to go.
There you go. That's your cue. You're all set.
Okay. It is 6 o'clock. Our president of the board is attending on a remote basis. So as vice president, he has asked me to lead the meeting. So, John, if you would call a roll, declare a quorum, and open the meeting.
I will do that. Jimmy Cox.
Here.
Linda.
Here.
Bob.
Here.
Doug.
Here.
Jill.
Here.
Joe.
I'm here too, John. Joe Plankus.
We have a full commission. Yay.
Thank you, Joe.
Great. Thank you very much. First item of business this evening is the approval of the July 19th, 2021 minutes. A copy's been provided to you. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a
For the
motion. Motion to approve the minutes of July 19th.
Thank you, Jill. Calling for a second.
Second. Linda Nass.
All in favor? John, would you call the roll?
Joe.
Yes?
Jill.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Bob. Yes. Linda.
Yes.
Okay, the minutes of the July 19th meeting have been approved. The next item of business is the approval of the meeting minutes from August 16th, 2021. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion for approval.
So moved. To approve the minutes, Joe Plankus.
Okay, calling for a second.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. John, would you call a roll for the vote?
Linda.
Yes.
Bob.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Jill.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes?
Thank you.
Okay. Next item of business on tonight's agenda is the approval of claims. John, is that something that you wanted to review at all before we ask for, open the meeting up?
I passed these out earlier. We've had quite a few emails back and forth. I believe the questions have been answered. If not, let me know, but I think we're set. As you can see, these are to be paid items on the list, and the detailed invoices are attached to the payables.
Okay, thank you, John.
Sure.
With that, we will open the meeting to any questions, comments from the commission.
I have some questions. In looking these over, and I did read some emails today, but this is what I was looking into. Including this evening, there have been 5 claims reports this year, 3 of which had O.W. Crone invoices attached, the months of February, May, and September. The RDC has only approved O.W. Crone invoices in parts for the amounts to be charged to TIF accounts. For example, in February, when the Crone bills were $19,000, the RDC approval at our meeting was for $4,908, which went to the 305 Grand Junction TIF account. In May, the Crone bills totaled $36,507.50. RDC was asked to approve $3,952.50, with the balance going into the Grand Junction TIF account number 305. So the balance, for example, in May, from $36,005 to $3,009, went into the 101001331 account. And looking back, that's how we have been assigning those for payment and approving them for the RDC. So when I received this one for the September meeting, the total bills are $8,283.75 listed on the front page, and on the copies of what Crown sent us, but if we followed the same reasoning and accounting practice and where we pay from in the past, tonight we would really only be asked to approve $701.25, which is the Trails Project under the Grand Junction TIF. So I did see very clearly a difference in what accounts we're applying these to and how we're paying them. So I asked a couple questions, and we did know that these were delayed. There was a May one, and it's now coming for September approval. There was the other one was June, sent in July. And I do realize from the council meeting that the 101001331 account is over budget. There isn't money to pay it. But we haven't had an appropriation made by the council at the request of the administration or the RDC, or I don't think you sent anything out on that, John, but I don't believe we have the authority to change these billings for things that are outside these TIF districts. So I went back and looked all the way back to the year, I looked back last year, and these other things like Wheeler, Union Square, we have been paying these out of that 1331 account. So this is definitely a change, and I don't feel real comfortable with it because they aren't necessarily going into these TIFs. I asked some questions earlier today, but
When you say they aren't going to the TIFs, could you be a little bit more specific?
well, okay, if you go back to January billings, Crone was looking at Wheeler, that was put into the 1331.
And that would have been a project that would be reimbursing
And Wheeler.
331.
And Wheeler and Wheeler and Wheeler, and then.
Again, that would have been reimbursed to 331 when the Wheeler deal closes.
Right. But these, to just take these, but on the Cronda bills, they say what they've always said before. They're called like general consulting is how he breaks them out. If you go back to these original bills that he sends out. And so those always went to 1331. So could he explain to us why we're not going to put that into 1331 now? And because we don't really have, the Union Square project is still being considered. It's not been determined yet, so, and it certainly wouldn't be East Side TIF. A fifth of it wouldn't be East Side TIF. I see on here that we've divided them by 5 and put them in East Side, Grand Junction, Eagletown, Main Street, and 146th Street. But if you go to the O.W. Crone bill, he's got some on here that in the past, the same way he called them, he would have put them under general consult.
Madam Commissioner, I think Mr. Treat or the folks at O.W. Crone could probably bring a little more clarity to this. I can tell you that there's been no change of course of action. When those do come through to approval to the administration, they're already broken out.
Yeah, I realize that.
They're already broken out. So there's been no change. There's been no change by the administration. And to try to make a correlation, as Mr. Beaudry has done, that we're trying to put those in a TIF that are outside of TIF activities in order to pay them is not a fair inference. So we can bring Mr. Treat in and have him give further direction. Those things, quite frankly, are automatically sent to the clerk's office. They cost allocate those based on past practice. Those then manifest to the administration for either approval or disapproval or further comments. As John noted, there are projects that sustain cost. There are no monies in that TIF district. And then it is directed and requested that those are kept track of and then reimbursed once those proceeds, once that increment begins to flow.
Well, both the June and July, maybe we can ask Jim Treat, because both the June and July that we're asked to approve tonight, he did break them down. There's a general consulting on each one of these bills, and yet we're finding those broken out between all these TIFs. In the past, anything that he marked general consulting has gone into 1331.
Again, ma'am, we have not directed anyone to compartmentalize or affix those costs to anything other than what has been normal course of business.
But can you show me where we've done this before like this?
I can only point to the records that are there. There's
Well,
also a
this is a
system of
different
record,
kind of
ma'am.
record.
If I may finish. There's a system of record that tracks the comments when they're brought to us. They've not been directed to change in anything in the past. So if there has been a change, I would then defer to the clerk's office, ma'am.
I called the clerk's office today and asked them about this, and
I can say I
You
spoke
want
with
me to
Debbie in the
s- you
clerk's
want me to-
office.
Ma'am,
just a
I'm
moment.
listening,
You
okay?
just directed me to the clerk's office.
Yes.
I did that.
Sure.
I already called them, and I said, especially because one of these was delayed a while. And so they do have a record in their office of what process that this went through. And they asked and were directed on what accounts to put them into. But they have not done this before, where they've taken a fee off of a Crone report, divided it by 5, and split it into 5 different
I'm not
tips.
sure who has directed them to do division by 5.
I don't either.
Well,
Well, who would have that authority?
It can be done in the clerk's office.
No, it was done by email.
I said it can't,
The-
Mr.
the
Beaudry,
clerk-
I said it can be, because I can stand here and tell you matter of factly, there have been charges that have been affixed to administration, that have been denied, disapproved, and yet posted to administration. So I don't know that we really need to get into the back and forth. I would just ask the chair to move if you want to move it forward, if not, table it.
Linda, if you have issues or items on accounting practices with the clerk treasurer, I would ask that they be addressed outside of this meeting. This evening, we are here to approve the claims that have been presented to us on the TIFs, the 5 TIFs.
Well,
And
I've-
at that point, I would ask for a motion for this approval, unless there are any other questions outside of what, that strictly pertain to the claims that have been presented to us this evening. If there are none, I'll ask for a motion for approval.
This is Joe Plankus. I move that we approve the claims for payment as presented.
Thank you, Joe. Looking for a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a motion has been made, it has been seconded. John, would you call the roll and we'll take vote?
Joe?
Yes?
Jill?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Bob?
No.
Linda?
No, based on the fact that the clerk treasurer divided these on the recommendation and advice and email of John Rogers of the RDC.
Okay.
Position, whatever his
The motion
position is.
has been approved and voted upon. Thank you very much. The next item of business for us this evening is
Hey.
the ratification of the current Grand Park user agreements. William? There's William.
Good evening, Commission members. For the record, William Knox, Grand Park Director. As we stated during our last meeting, we're going to present and bring before you the agreements that have been executed since our last meeting for ratification tonight. I believe all of you had an opportunity to review and go through those. Several of you reached out with questions related to some of the agreements. The vast majority of those agreements are our user agreements, which is our typical instrument for contracting business. There are also a few sponsorship agreements. As you will note, all of those agreements are executed by me and me only, because I am the only one on the campus who has the signing authority on your behalf. So all of the agreements, the buck stops here, though there are no other staff members on site that will sign any of those. So if there are questions, additional questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. And I think we will move forward from there.
Hey, William, I reviewed some of the agreements, a random sampling of the agreements, and pretty much they contain all of the basic requisites that we're looking for. These have been developed by an attorney.
Yep.
They include various things such as the indemnification agreement, insurance requirements, hold harmless agreements, and so forth. Basic things, the force majeure, that will protect Grand Park from catastrophic loss.
Yes.
And I believe that those are contained in each agreement such as that.
That is correct, and I did have a very lengthy conversation with some council members regarding some of the agreements, and at any point in time, particularly for our user agreement, if we ever make a change or one of our clients requests a change to the language, we always send that through our legal counsel to assure that it's still meets what we want to achieve from the legal standpoint.
Okay, thank you. Floor is open for any questions or comments of William.
I did talk to William last week, And we went over several that I had a list of, because I did read 555 pages of 47 contracts. Felt it was my duty. Yes, I realize that there's an 18-page and a 19-page and a 6-page and a 2-page, whatever. But there were some variances. So we talked about most of the things that I had questioned, so I could get some understanding of why this was that way, or why we gave a discount, or why we, for example, charge Wheeler Mission Zero as a charitable thing. We looked at, the Heartland College Athletic Conference, because we're hoping they bring us more business, and I think those are good things. And sometimes there wasn't a payment schedule because they're paying right at the moment. So it was good to kind of understand those things. We went through that the one contract talks about severe weather, so I suggested we change that to severe, add the E. Understanding who is doing the legal on the contracts, what the medical services and trainers are. And then we came to the agreement called Bond Sports, Inc., which was written as a contract with Grand Park Sports Campus. And William and I talked about this. Perhaps we need to rewrite that so that it's a contract with the RDC.
Yeah,
Or
and we've already addressed that with our legal,
Very
and we're going to
good.
get an amendment.
Very good. Okay, I just
I
wanted
think that's
to.
a good point. So I would just add, William and I have discussed that.
Great.
And it's my understanding William has contacted the vendor, and there is understanding that,
No problem,
or
right.
willingness to enter into an amended version that would specify the Redevelopment Commission as the contracting party on the
Right.
city side.
Because William shared there might be a couple others like that, and that's great, I appreciate that.
And that is the appropriate party, so good catch. Yep.
Yeah, I do think so. I know we had, and I love the school here, always have, but we had the high school graduation in a contract, which I wasn't expecting, but for next May, and it started out as a backup contract, but now it's a contract that they will have it there. Understanding that if we rented the space, it's 25.5, maybe we get other things out of this. William explained to me that it's just offered for this year, not a continuing thing, and maybe considered a give back. And we kind of talked about the give back that we're going to discuss later in the MOU, but it's not
Okay.
like the Grand Park is really rolling in income, but wondered if there was something that could be negotiated. So we do this for the school, they do something for us. Just a thought.
Yeah, and per our discussion, we've had instances where the school has helped us in certain areas related to space that we needed from the other side. This was, to your point, one of those opportunities for us to be a great community partner. We did it year one. They really enjoyed the space, and we've committed only to next year. So if there's a change in policy where we would like to look at it differently, we definitely can do that.
Okay. So really, John, I didn't understand why we're going through all of these, but if that's what somebody wanted, as an RDC member, I'm willing to do that. It
That
wasn't
is-
me
that is
asking
the-
for it,
that is
okay?
that is the intent of the ratification process, as
Okay.
I understand it.
So we'll get them,
So that as, it allows William Todd to run the day-to-day activities, to be nimble, to fulfill the service requests in a timely fashion so that we can bring in the revenue. The flip side of that is that there's still visibility at this, with this commission, and the chance to ask William any questions that you might have, like you have this evening.
Okay.
Great.
Linda, thank you very much for reviewing the 555 pages. You saved us all a lot of time.
well, I hope somebody else looked
Appreciate
at
it
some of them.
I'm sure you have a number of recommendations that I'm sure if you share those with William, he will appreciate that, and we'll take them into accord. Are there any other questions or comments on this, on the Grand Park user agreements? My understanding is that we will seek a motion for the approval of these, and so the floor is open for a motion to approve the current Grand Park user agreements.
I'll make a motion to approve the Grand Park user agreements.
I'll
Thank you.
second that.
Second?
Linda
John?
Nass.
It has been, a motion has been made, it has been seconded. John, would you call roll?
Linda?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Thank
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the 2022 budget. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you. John Rogers, Director of Enterprise Development. Tonight, I wanted to get in front of you more of an overall document that serves a couple of purposes this evening. It's been a while. A couple of you have only been on the commission for a short time. It serves two purposes. This document gives you an overview of all the economic development areas in Westfield. And then it also gives you a little bit of history, financial history on those areas. Some of them, as you can see, are a lot of blank pages because they're new. But the objective here is just to introduce what the spending has been, that has taken place in the past, and what we're looking at projecting right now for the 2022 budget. There are details for each of the EDA areas, and frankly, I really didn't have a whole lot else to go over tonight. I mean, the whole idea was just to get something in front, especially the newer folks, just so that you get a sense, and even for the folks that have been here for a while. We've had some changes over the last couple of years, and I wanted to graphically represent that. Leanne, our GIS person, she did a great job of getting these together. We're still tweaking a few things, and that's the reason it took a little longer to get this put together than I thought it would. And I'm also interested in a little bit of feedback. Is this a preferred method for doing this process?
Well, John, it's obvious that a lot of work went into the preparation.
Thank you.
Of this going back to 2019, 2020, 2021 as of the end of August, and then your budget. And I also appreciate having the color map with the outline of the various TIF districts.
Well, definitely send a thank you to Leanne. I'm serious. I mean, I think that people underestimate what she does.
Yeah, please let her know that.
I will definitely pass it along, but of course, it might be a little bit more meaningful coming from you guys than me,
Okay,
frankly.
we'll do that. Okay, thank you, John. Floor is open, or the floor is open to the commissioners for any questions, comments, items of discussion.
I will ditto what Doug said. I think you did a great job. And if we do this every year and just expand on it or, add to it as we update it, these maps this could be the one time a year we really get to see them, which would be great.
And I, thank you again. And I do think it is an annual process. As you can imagine, there is a lot of effort here.
Definitely.
And actually picking a moment in time and cutting everything off gets a little iffy. So I think this time of year, the budgeting process is about the best time of the year to do this. And if it's a one time a year, which I would prefer, frankly, then it would help everybody have a reference in
Right,
going
we can always go
backwards,
back to
right?
this.
Because
Yeah,
we would be looking at the same time frame.
Yes.
Yeah, very much agree.
I just had one question on the, let's see, is it the Grand Junction TIF, where are we actually anticipating a land purchase of $500,000 this year?
I carry that every year, and it gives us the flexibility to enter into it, just much like I described with William and Todd in Grand Park. It
Yeah.
allows us to be nimble when Todd is negotiating with developers or someone. That allows us to have a little bit of area to negotiate.
Okay.
Anything beyond that, even with that, to be clear, even with that, we would still come here and bring in front of you any type of purchase that would use these dollars. Just, I like to have them allocated so that when I'm doing my 5 and 7 year projection, I get a sense of I'm already taking that money out, and I'm pulling that money out of the projection and as if it did get spent. So that when I'm looking that far out, I have a sense of magnitude of what the possibility of those long-term dollars are.
Well, I saw in 2019 there was an amount, there wasn't anything in 2020.
That's correct.
And now it's back. Okay, all right. Just-
Okay. Any other questions for John or comments?
I have a quick question, John, just
Sure.
on like Lantern Commons and I think Union Square. What is the yellow area? There's no key on those two.
And that's one of those things Leanne and I, today, we were struggling, I mean, right up to the last minute. Okay, well, how do we get this and we just didn't get it changed. It should be the same colors as all the others, and it should be
Okay.
represented. It should be the same, I'm sorry, it should be the same colors as the others, and it should be representative.
So would those areas be green? Would they be?
I'm not,
Increment?
I don't want to comment until I
Okay,
have
we
a
need to
chance
find
to
out. Okay.
dive into the details, because again, this is a parcel by parcel
Okay.
representation, and frankly, I just ran out of runway.
Sure. So can you just let us know, or have Leanne follow up and let us know which way those pieces would go?
I will do that. I will update this.
Okay,
And make sure that you all have an updated version in your email once once Leanne and I have a chance to confirm what
what those parcels are?
those parcels are and what their color they should be.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, John. Any other questions for John?
This is Joe Plankus. Doug, I would just like to add my thanks to John and Leanne also. I've been working off and on with John over the last several months as he's put this together. This is a very large task to get it all done and coordinated with Leanne and the GIS department. And they've done an absolute yeoman job in putting that together. And I agree with John, having it this time of year as budgets are being developed and we can see those numbers as a commission, I think is an excellent timing point for having John provide that information to us. So again, John and Leanne, and I will personally contact Leanne also to thank her for her efforts on this. Great work on a difficult project. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
I just have one question of John. Since we were supposed to be going into OpenGov and looking at all sorts of things, and I sent that to you today, what's in OpenGov as numbers, what are we supposed to be using this for or considering?
These are the dollars that we'll be using the TIF increment revenues for.
Okay.
Okay, what you're seeing in here. And I want to, Chris Larson and I and several others have been working, the OpenGov reporting isn't working exactly like we want it to. So
Yeah.
that's the reason it looks a little different, okay? But I can assure you that these are straight out of the system of record
Okay.
with me entering what the $22 are. And I've had Jim Treat review this, the $22. So I'm pretty confident in that piece, although I'm just going to leave it at, I'm not going to say that it's an absolute. I mean, I'm.
Okay, I just wanted to hear, from
Yeah,
you since
it's,
I was
yeah,
there.
well, Chris is working, I mean, he's just working unbelievable hours and trying to get stuff. But we've identified an issue, and OpenGov's aware of the issue, and we're working on it.
So your figures here are accurate?
Those
Correct?
figures are
OpenGov is a little bit suspect right now, but will be
Yeah,
corrected.
and
down
again,
the road.
let's be clear, and I want to drive this point, and Chris can chime in, I know he's on. OpenGov is our budgeting system. That is the sole purpose of OpenGov. It's a budgeting system.
Okay.
NAV is the system of record. So,
Yeah, and
And these come from
the
there.
only thing I would jump in on that and say is there are two portions to that budgeting side, the reporting side, which has an issue, and the reporting side is just a graphical representation of the data, and it does some calculation. But if you go to the budget tab and look at the Grand Park budget, those are the numbers that William is projecting for expenses.
and what you're seeing in the RDC budget
Yeah.
is in two places, RDC and debt.
Right.
So, and therein lies some of the reporting
Okay.
conflict. But again, just a confirmation, you all understand that OpenGov is just the budgeting system, okay?
Okay.
That's its sole purpose.
Yes.
Todd mentioned, he wants to kind of add something here. I'm going to let him come up here and, if you're done with me.
Okay.
Thank you.
John. And
Okay.
again, thank
John.
you for the
Thanks for
presentation.
I'll be brief on that matter. The mention of retained dollars in the Grand Junction TIF, we present to you, I believe next month as part of our development agreement with SEP, which is the newest US 31 corporate citizen under construction now at 161st and US 31. We will provide, because we're waiting on land appraisals, part of that development agreement involved an acquisition of, I forget what the real estate acreage is in total, I forget. Trailhead, yeah.
0.93. I think it's 0.93.
Just under an acre to make a trailhead there. So that will be coming before you. We will push that information out as soon as the appraisals are finalized. You can review those and bring that matter before you and your consideration.
Okay, thank you, Todd. Why don't you just stay right there? The ratification of the 2022 budget does not require a vote, but again, John, we appreciate the work that's gone into this and the work of Leanne. This presentation just merely proves I should have bought land 20 years ago, but thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the bullpen memo of understanding. Todd?
Yeah, so this is has a little bit of age on it. This is a representation or a memorialization of expectations articulated by the city council. Those were conveyed to Mr. Coker, and I think William can help me with this, but the bullpen tournament has, as our operator on the Diamond side, began to execute upon this, I think in March or April when their season opened. And you can read it. It's, I think, reduced or free gate. There's reduction of fees and tournaments to Westfield centric rec and youth sports. There's really no action item, Cam, I believe here. It's just entered into your record. This is something that the bullpen tournaments has begun to do, has been doing, and we would expect them to, if there's a change in their position, to come back with a requested amendment to this. But this has been underway for quite some time. They didn't really need our permission to do this. It again is a memorialization of things that they agreed to and have been doing, to the best of my knowledge, all summer long.
So that document has been provided? The memo has been provided?
Yeah, they provided it to us. It went through legal on both sides, and then I believe that's attached. So you have that in your possession. I did push that out, did I not?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought I pushed it
You
out.
you might have pushed it out.
We can
a couple of
resend it.
months.
I thought I pushed it out a few weeks ago. I
Okay, that'd be fine.
think
Thank
Ms.
you.
Noss requested that.
Yeah, I
pushed
think,
it.
again, I think that was a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
don't remember if it was under that label.
Okay.
Yeah, if we could get a copy.
We
of
will do
we'd
that.
Appreciate it, Todd. Any questions for Todd on the bullpen memo? Okay.
My question is the public fully aware of this? Because some people know, but not very many. So
You know,
how are we
I
going to
think-
publicize this?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Can I talk
I
to
know
Kim
that it
about
was
that?
mentioned shortly after they began to execute it, bullpen. I'm under the understanding that they pushed it through their communication channels really to the folks that they have the greatest audience of. And I believe city communications also helped push that out as well. I don't know exactly what format, but it certainly can be republicized. Most likely, probably more productive to do that at the beginning of next season. But I believe the short answer is, ma'am, yes.
Maybe a little more, but it's great to call it Project Give Back at Grand Park. So William probably has some great ideas of how to publicize it or put it up there. Thanks.
But we'll push that copy out to you all. I thought
Okay,
it already
thank you
been
very
done.
much, Todd. Any additional business before the commission this evening? Mr. Knox. the floor is
Good
yours.
evening again, William Knox, Director of Grand Park. I have one other item to share with you tonight. A few weeks ago, actually during our last meeting, we shared an opportunity that came to us to look to utilize a portion of the campus for a treetop adventure course. I've shared a little bit of information, but tonight with us we have a representative from the organization here to say a few words. Gal will come up and talk a little bit, and he has a quick video to show as well. We've been working with Gal and his team for probably the last 4 months, 5 months, somewhere in that area, on opportunities, looking at the space that's available, what all it would take for us to kind of pull this together. Just this morning, I had additional conversations with our legal team related to how we would go about working with Treetop Adventures to contract this if we so decided to move forward. But Gal was here. They're going to be they were out today taking some additional pictures and looking at the site. And I told him that this was a great opportunity for him to come in and talk with you guys a little bit. So,
Okay,
Gal?
thank you. Floor is yours, sir.
Hi, guys. I'm Gal Karp from Michigan. This is Jeremy Fishman. We're at Tree Runner Adventure Parks. So nice to see you guys. And it's probably exciting to have everyone back, right? Seeing each other in person. So we have 4 parks. We have 3 in Michigan. Hopefully you guys don't dislike Michigan too much. And we have 1 in North Carolina. And what we do is you can see, we'll do the video really quick. We really made it nice and short and quick, so you can sort of get a good idea. So if you want to run that, and then I'll describe it. No commercials. And by the way, one of the requirements is that all board members have to come climb. Now, we'll get you through.
Oh, hey,
So,
Okay.
yeah.
I was on 2 of them last year. So.
Really?
Oh,
That's
you
fantastic.
betcha. Been on them all over the country. Go ahead.
Well, good. So you know, I'm glad you know a lot about them. So one of the things we noticed, and if you guys want me to go quicker, I'll go quick. But one of the things we noticed is so many kids today. You have, by the way, what Graham Park? I mean, we're both athletes. Wow. I mean, people don't understand how big it is until you're here. It's just absolutely incredible. So, but one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is so many kids today, if they're not great athletes, by the time they're 11, 12, they're pretty much done. And if they don't have coaches and lessons and paid privates, there's not that many outdoor things and things they do anymore. So one of the things we provide is anyone can learn it at any time. We have so many kids who come to see us, and adults as well. We have a lot of team building, a lot of corporations. In Michigan, we have a lot of the auto companies and their suppliers, and they schedule groups 50, 60 people all the time during the week. So we're not just busy on weekends, we're also busy during the week. School buses come all the time. Our season pretty much goes from late March, early April. Your weather's better here, thankfully. And we're pretty much done right about early November. But we look at some of the weather, so maybe we'll get lucky. How long does your seasons go?
We don't close our outdoor grass fields until late October, early November.
Yeah, so right about Halloween, we usually, and we do some great events for Halloween as well. We do revenue share agreements. We're at a large public university called Oak University. We're at a couple campuses of Jewish community centers. Mainly, they have this extra land. They have trees. They're already zoned pretty much for multiple use, similar to our uses. So we don't buy the land, we just do a revenue share. We share the parking lot. They have bathrooms, parking lots, electricity, and we're just one of the uses that's going to be on site. The park in West Bloomfield, Jeremy, you want to share a couple numbers with them? Just to tell you, one of the things that's exciting to bring more business here, right? While you have your tournaments, William shared a lot of them. In between the tournaments, a lot of the kids have 2-3 hours. What are they doing? So this is what we're experiencing now in Raleigh. They built 2 soccer fields right next to our park there. And the kids are coming, the older brother's playing, the younger sister's with the mom, driving them crazy. Come on, let's go over to the park, and it's right there. So this is one, hopefully, uses that will assist with that. But Jeremy, if you don't mind telling them a couple numbers, and if you guys got any questions, well,
Yeah, so the park that you just saw here in West Bloomfield, which is just outside Detroit, does about 50,000 climbers a year. On average, you can expect basically a half a person in addition to the climber to come with them at any given time. So you're talking about 75,000 people. We do deals, we're very cognizant of the local economy that we're within, because we do make, just like Grand Park and the spaces that we go to, we do make a significant seemingly impact on the local economy, because people do travel from up to 2 hours. I mean, if you know anything about Michigan topography, people will come. We have a park in Grand Rapids, Michigan that's on the west side. People will come all the way from Traverse City, which is a good 2 hours plus, pretty consistently actually. So you can expect anywhere up to about 75,000 people at that high end, where our West Bloomfield Park's quite large. In a first year, you could probably expect close to, I would say, 20,000 climbers would be a pretty safe number. What we've noticed, as Gal alluded to in Raleigh, is that very, very frequently there are cousins, there are siblings of the athletes that don't necessarily have something to do or be programmed during the events that their cousins, siblings are engaging in. And it is a really good opportunity for the parents to, I don't want to say the word offload, but to engage the kids in a particular activity that is safe, enjoyable, and we really have something from basically the ages, because I know this is a question we get frequently. The ages start from 4, and it goes all the way up to, we had a gentleman who just celebrated his 92nd birthday at the park and did one of our harder trails, so that was pretty impressive. But yeah, anything else that I'm missing that you want me to hit?
just, we're excited to work with you, hopefully. And we think it's an incredible demographic in the area. A majority of the people who come to the park are usually Friday through Sunday. They're families. The parents go, what am I going to do this weekend? Am I going to see a movie? Am I going to trampoline park? Am I going to a Colts game? What am I going to do? And this is one of the options. So it's not about tourism, even though you do have that advantage, which you could bring them. It's mostly, the majority of our people are families and school groups who are saying, hey, it's nearby, let's get outside and not that this COVID thing's been awful, but we're outdoors, so it's actually been even busier because, we do have masks in certain areas when it's required. But you're outdoors and you're usually, 5, 6, 10 feet apart. So it's really been, I think for a lot of people God said that this is around, especially we're outdoors.
Okay.
So if you guys got any questions,
I'll open the floor to questions, but I have the first one to William. Where are we in this process? Are we on the first date, or are we getting ready to get married?
No, we're definitely still in the early stages. Gal has come down. This is his third trip here to kind of look at the current location. We wanted to get this before you such that you felt comfortable that we can continue the dialogue. Again, we've reached out to council. They're going to work on the instrument that we would use to contract the business, but there's still a few details we'd have to work through.
Okay. Questions from the commission?
Well, I had a nice conversation with William not long ago. We kind of went through this because I know folks who run one down by Sarasota, so I know from the time they built it, so I know what all that took. So I just kind of put those considerations to William, and I think he understands that and will do a good job looking through that. So can you construct this in the winter time? Would it be open for the spring? Do you have any idea if this is all go with everyone? And I understand that you're not using trees, you're using poles.
So it depends on the park. First of all, just to address the trees in the park. First of all, we have an arborist come out. So we check all the trees. They put little marks on the trees. I'm sure you're familiar with that. We see which one is healthiest. What we're looking for in our parks, like you probably saw in Sarasota, is the tallest, skinniest, basically a telephone pole. So what we found is that we use trees if we can, but if not, we put a pole next to the tree, and it's not as noticeable. We probably use maybe a third. We use poles, and if a tree's not doing well, then we'll switch and use a pole as well. But you probably noticed the clip system also in Sarasota. So the dual clip system, if you watch in the video, once you get on the course, you can't fall off. It's always clipped in on a special cable. The systems come from Germany and France. You know, as crazy Europeans come up with all these things to do. So it's a growing thing in the United States. I would say that it's sort of like a summer version of a really nice ski resort. And we try to do, you know, really high-end customer service. So the experience is not just the climbing, but this was your day, and everyone really appreciated and did something that they were really uncomfortable with, and they could be proud of themselves that they actually accomplished this. And how many people say, I'm scared of heights, I'm not going up there? I can't tell you how many people says, yeah, I'm scared, but, you know, I pushed myself, and I can't believe I did it.
And it'll include zip lines?
Yeah,
Is
it's
this area conducive for that?
exactly. It's different, like sort of ninja courses you can see in the video. If you check out our website, and we're happy to send you more pictures and more information. If you guys want to come visit us even, it's only 4 hours away. But yes, it involves both climbing and zip lining, different obstacles. And as far as timeline goes, our busy season ends in end of October. So generally then we start adding on to our parks and we look for new parks. Ideally, we want to open up in late April. We want people, the first day it's like, you know, 58 degrees and sunny, 65. They're like, what am I doing? I got to get outside. And if you can hit that energy right when people first want to jump out there, it really works well. We have a lot of marketing to do, a lot of social media. We build our websites. We call all the schools, all the corporate groups. There's a lot of work to get them ready for it. And then probably right after the kids are out of school, about a week later, mid-June, that's when it gets really busy.
So we're looking at April 2022
Yes,
as a possibility.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. And we don't mean to rush you in any way. Whenever you're comfortable, hopefully, you know.
Any other questions, comments?
And, you know,
Okay,
in
thank you
addition to
very
the
much.
legal items, we'll work through with all of our zoning and regulations here on site to make sure we're all good. So that will happen hopefully between this meeting and October's meeting, such that we can come to you in October with a potential agreement that we'd be comfortable moving forward with.
Okay.
I gotta mention one other thing, really important, people, you will come up. We have incredible insurance, just like you mentioned some of the other agreements. You're indemnified from everything. Your attorneys will review it. There are really big good insurance companies who insure things like this. They insure ski resorts, zip lines, so we follow all those guidelines. And I can tell you that the university has a lot of guidelines, so we're very used to that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, William. Any other additional business to come before the commission? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made. Second?
Second, Lyndon Ass?
Second. With that, we'll just call for verbal ratification. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.